So right here's another one. Here's another one which is kind of linked to customer service. I've just finished talking about, and this is a topic that comes up, and it always causes a lot of stir within the realms of hospitality, certainly. And it's about tipping. Now I've come to learn a few things. Like I was indeed when I was younger one of those guys who believed that waiters deserve their tips. I didn't really feel the need to explain why. It was just the way it was, and I was one of those people who was like, well, that's the way it is, deal with it. But as time goes on, and as people spend their money in certain ways, I was honestly forced to actually start thinking about it. Well, what? Actually, hang on, why? It was when I realised that, what was it now? In essence, I'm doing something for someone, and even though it is my job already, indeed, they are still taking their money out of their own pocket and giving it to me. And some people were doing it, and it didn't seem that they realised why. So they didn't really have justification for doing that. For fuck's sake. So they were just doing it, and that kind of weirded me out. So I was like, hang on a minute, these people are just doing this. They're not even. That no one questions it. Even if I did a bad job, I would still get a tip. And honestly, that started to bug me, because I started to take pride in my work. And for me, taking pride in my work meant that if I didn't do a good job, I honestly didn't think I deserved a reward for it. So I was like, well, I haven't done a good job. Why are you tipping me? And it forced me to start thinking about it. And I did some research into it, and I looked into why people tip. There was a number of reasons, but there was one which I liked, which was the idea that when the rich apparently walked among the poor, it was like a well-wishing. It was like saying, you know, please be with health, go with health and be well. So they would offer them kind of silver coins or whatever, or money, and just say, you know, as a well-wish, effectively. I hope
getting nowhere.
I hope things go well for you. You know, that kind of thing. And apparently it kind of evolved from there. Another one was when you're hosting, when you allow people in your house, it's kind of a thanks. Thank you for letting me in your house. Thank you for taking care of me. And now that's still a tradition today. So when you have dinner parties and stuff, it might seem custom to, you know, maybe bring a bottle of wine or something that you can have while you're there, as a kind of a, you know, thank you for letting me in your house and taking care of you, that kind of thing. So it kind of evolved from that as well, and that links because hospitality and indeed restaurant work is extremely close to. Well, they try to gear it all around the idea that, you know, it's a dinner party. Effectively, that is what it is. Even though, was this one done? That one's done. Even though, you know, it is a restaurant, it's a business. They try to make it feel as much like you're in someone else's home as possible. That is fucking annoying. Yeah, they want to make it feel as much like that as possible. I shouldn't have done that. That was a really stupid thing to do. So you'll find that that's the idea, and I think perhaps that's why tipping again is something that people expect you to do, because of that theme that's overarching in the industry. I know it doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't really work, but that would be a logical link between the two things. But no, I have to honestly say that as a waiter, I did also, when working in different restaurants as well. Oh, there's still glass on the floor. I did honestly start to realise that the chefs actually do a lot of hard work, and I won't honestly say whether or not it's harder, because the jobs are very different. They're very, very different. It's like saying what's harder work, working on an oil rig or being a firefighter in a way. Honestly, I don't know. Only because I don't know. I'm sure someone will come at me and be like, well, this one's harder, but I don't know. You can't really compare the two. One is indeed standing in front of a hob for up to, honestly, like 15, 16 hours a day, just cooking over and over and over again. You'll have projects, mini projects, effectively, which are dishes that are going out of the kitchen, some of which might come back because you've made a mistake. Some of which might come back because the person it went to just didn't like it, and you just kind of have to take it and cook it again. And it's again that repetition with the heat and the ticket machine going off and off and off, like the phone is constantly ringing, and that is stressful. It is stressful. I did that for like 4 months, and I honestly didn't really like it. I didn't like it at all. But then being a waiter is indeed difficult, but not for the same reason. You are indeed on your feet still, you're moving around, you're walking around, but it's constantly having to adhere to people's wants and demands. Oh, son of a bitch. And having to work to schedules, having to work to your mini projects again, if you like, and operating your section as a business, ensuring that everyone's happy at all times, ensuring that everyone has what they need and everyone gets what they want. You're as much the, say, food delivery administrator as you are the complaints handler, as you are the quality assurance manager, as you are the fucking, oh god, I don't know, I guess the finance department in a way. You know, you're everything all at the same time. And so, tipping the waiter, I don't know, I think it happened because the waiter was just the face of business. They were the person that the customer corresponded with the entirety of the time. And so the customer, I guess, thought that it was only fair to tip the person they corresponded with. They were the voice of the chefs, they were the face of the chefs, they were the face of the food, the face of the business. And that's how it was. In regards to tipping, and I'll have to stick remotely, well, exclusively to the UK here, because I can't get involved in the case of this in around the world. Certainly not in the US, because I just think the fact that restaurants pay their staff minimum wage is ridiculous, or less than minimum wage, isn't it? I think that's ridiculous. And to make the customers make up for that is unbelievable. I think that's unfair. Although there is something within that I find does make sense, unfortunately. Here in the UK, basically, minimum wage is what it is, and we can't pay any less than that. There's nothing you can do to get around it. And so the restaurants don't expect the tips to make up for it. Which means that the tipping system in the UK is optional. It's completely optional. You do not have to tip. You shouldn't feel bad for not tipping. You shouldn't made to feel guilty for not tipping. If you don't want to tip, you don't want to tip. It's simple as that. And that is the reality here in the UK. I think it's only annoying because in the UK it seems to be just taken for granted that people do it. Because there are people out there who do it and don't realise why they should or shouldn't. I always remember, like, if you're going to tip, make sure you're tipping and investing in something that you like. You know, it's a matter of voting with your money. If you've had bad service, don't tip them, because you're then suggesting that what they've done is acceptable and you're happy to pay more for that. No, don't do that. And honestly, as a waiter, I will happily say, don't do that. Don't ever do that. If I've done a bad job and I don't get a tip, that confirms that I have indeed done a bad job and I haven't done good enough. When people leave a tip for me, obviously I'm grateful, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't feel I deserve this. I genuinely don't. I don't feel like I should have this right now, and it makes me feel even worse, because I'm like, well, I don't want my bad performance to be supported. I really don't. Here in the UK, that option should be fully implemented or employed. Also for other reasons as well, like waiters may get pissed off, but I'll be honest, I'm getting pissed off because the standards seem to be slipping quite heavily for many reasons at the moment in restaurants. For one, I think restaurant business, chain restaurants are fucking up royally right now, and that's annoying the shit out of me, because chain restaurants are forgetting about the days, certainly when I started in restaurants, where standards was something that you upheld regardless. You never let your standards slip, and you never used anything as an excuse. You didn't use your staff, you didn't use your money, you didn't use anything. You never let your standards slip, and that seems to be what's happening in chain restaurants today. I know that the economy is hurting for whatever reason, but nonetheless, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't still be able to give people the high quality service that they honestly deserve. And that's what's happening. In the US, with people getting paid less than minimum wage, I can see now how they're able to afford to have more staff on the floor. When you have more staff on the floor, the theory should be that you should then be able to perform a better job, because there's more people around to get things done better and faster and easier. And that's a reality that I will stick with and believe forever. When you have more people there, you have more work is done at a higher quality per guest in the restaurant. And so in the way, the US have got that part kind of right, but it's still not the right way to do it. You'll see in a lot of independents that they don't have, oh god, they don't allow to be understaffed. They hate the idea of being understaffed, because being understaffed means that the service will drop. And I want everyone to understand this. If the restaurant is understaffed, even by one person, it is incredible how much of a difference that one person makes. It is phenomenal. Even if it's just an extra pair of hands, I can't really even put it into words. I could draw out graphs and do the science of it, but genuinely, all I can say is, it is phenomenal the difference one human being can make in a restaurant in terms of the workload. The moment you lose a person, or the moment you're a person down, trust me, you notice it straight away. Even as a guest, you'll notice. So to be honest, when labour's such a big deal and restaurants spend so much money or spend so much focus on the amount they're spending on their staff, you are genuinely looking at the huge difference between offering good quality service and bad quality service. And it's a fine line between the two, but honestly, that is the reality of it. When people are focusing so much on labour, they're also focusing a lot on the quality that they are willing to give out, and that's the genuine honest truth. They really are dancing on the edge of people going into a restaurant and having a good time or a bad time. And it's difficult to measure. You can't always know when to have enough staff on, but ultimately the ideal would be have as many staff as you think is necessary. Perhaps overshoot the mark a little bit. Just spend that little bit more so that you have enough people on, and if it's quiet, send people home. That should be a system that's always employed. Unfortunately, it's not, because big businesses are so scared to spend money on their labour that they'd rather undercut, they'd rather risk it, they'd rather have less people on the floor and know that they saved the extra penny that's gone into their pocket and taking a gamble. So if people do come into the restaurant and we're not ready for it, they get poor service. They might not understand why, even though it's just bad luck, but actually the reality is it's not bad luck. The company just weren't willing to take the risk on that person getting the service they deserved. That really pisses me off. That annoys the shit out of me. Also, because as a waiter, I want to be able to do a good job, and I want people to come into the restaurant that I work in and know that I can do a good job, because it looks bad on me when they're not getting a good service. Whether people like it or not, they've associated that poor service to me, and so now I look like I'm a bad waiter because my company can't effectively afford to pay out to ensure that we're doing a good job. And I don't really care if someone has a disagreement with that. If you worked in the senior management of a restaurant and you say, oh, well, you don't understand the margins and profits and blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck about the margins and profits. At the end of the day, people come into restaurants and they expect good things. They expect good service. And that's what we're there to deliver. That's what we should be delivering all the time. We want to be able to make sure that even if things go wrong, we have the resources to make it right again. And that's what creates return custom. People being taken care of properly, people being treated properly. People being treated properly does not look like not having enough staff on the floor at the same time. This is a huge problem in the UK, and certainly in chain restaurants as well. And I want everyone to hear this, that chain restaurants in the UK, in my opinion, are kind of fucked. I hate them. I hate them because a lot of the time they focus on the sales before they focus on the customer service. And I guess it's true in a few businesses out there. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm a huge believer in product before profit. Product before profit. I've just made something there. It's great. Product before profit. I'm a huge believer in that. And I always will. I know it might not make great business sense. I'm not a business person, which is probably clear from what I've just said. But from what I understand and from what I've seen, and how people have achieved over the years, how I've watched people achieve over the years, I've seen that ultimately what they have done is they've done good work, and they've done it very well, and they've done it consistently well, which may have meant that they've had to spend a little bit more to make it happen. They've had to be smart about it, they've had to be clever, but what they haven't done, I don't believe, is been so tight that their business is unable to grow or get better or remain consistent. Perhaps they tried it and it hasn't worked, but ultimately, yeah, that's what I believe. I don't know how I got from tipping to here, but I'll round it off. I'll round it off by saying tipping is an investment, and some people understand that. Tipping is an investment. I understand that. I tip as often as I can. I tip the tattoo artist because she did a fantastic job, and I couldn't be happier with my first tattoo. I really couldn't be. She did a great job, better than I thought she was going to do. Which, no offense, I didn't think she was going to do a bad job. I just wasn't expecting her to do that good a job. But I tipped her, and to show that I was genuinely grateful for what she did. You know, I tip bartenders because, well, they do good work. Bartenders are good at what they do. Certainly good bartenders, and they work hard. I'll tip taxi drivers. I'll tip in as many scenarios as I can, because I want people to know that when they do something good for me, I want them to know that I am grateful for it. Thank you doesn't pay the bills. Thank you doesn't help businesses grow. Thank you doesn't... It confirms something, that you've done a good job, yeah, but it doesn't have the same impact, I don't believe, as giving someone more money than they've asked from you to say, I genuinely believe in what you're doing. I genuinely want to back up and invest and be a part of the growth of what you're doing. And that's why I think tipping is important, and that's why I think people should tip. In terms of tipping your waiter, again, I think the best thing to do is to leave it up to you. If you don't tip, that's fine. I have tried to make the argument before as well that, you know, waiters do their job for the tips. They don't do it for the minimum wage. So unfortunately, if everyone did indeed stop tipping, then I don't think we would see any... We would certainly see a decrease in the quality of service. And I'm not saying that in a bitter way, like, oh, then you're all gonna, you know, suffer in the service quality. But I do honestly believe that it just means that the service won't be as good if everyone stopped tipping. But on the other side as well, I will say to all waiters, do a fucking good job. Stop expecting tips. Oh, you son of a bitch. Don't expect tips to be handed out to you. You have to earn them. Tips are always there to be earned, never just to be given out. And I will firmly believe that. I firmly believe in working hard for your money. And certainly in terms of restaurants, because, again, it's a gift. People are taking money from their pocket and handing it to you. And you should feel that is earned, not that is given. That is earned to you. And I've worked with people who don't understand that, who miss that point, that it is genuinely is something that you just... Oh, hello, what happened? They miss that point. They don't get it. Some people, I've seen people like, oh, why didn't they tip? And I'll kind of be like, well, it's funny, you stood there standing on your phone for 5 minutes while they were clearly waiting for their bill. That's probably why you didn't get a tip. Things like that. But do remember, exercise your power, and with everything, vote with your money. Vote with your money, people. Your money is a powerful tool, and it's not about something that should be coveted, but it is indeed a wonderful tool that confirms, and at the same time, well, confirms. That's it. It confirms. It's confirmation. I love using money to show people how I feel about business, because yeah, that's what they thrive on. People don't start businesses for thank yous. They start businesses to make money out of them. And so when I see something that I believe in, I like being able to show them in their language as well that I'm grateful for what they've done, and I'm happy to support it. So yes, that probably didn't really go the way I wanted it to with tipping. But yeah, it's your choice, people in the UK. It's your choice. It's what you want to do with it. Tip if you want. Don't tip if you don't want to. Don't do it. Waiters, make sure you're just always doing a good job. Yeah? Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. Excellent stuff. Excellent. Putting the world to rights in some weird way. Don't think I am, but whatever.